been spending some time with the lower end of Nissan's lineup this summer. We've driven things recently like the Altima, the Sentra, even spent time in the Nissan Juke, which surprisingly we liked quite a bit. And now we're trying out the Nissan Rogue. This is a 2013 Nissan Rogue, small crossover. And you could probably tell that by the looks because it fits in with all the competition. I see quite a lot of Toyota RAV4 in the side. You know, it has the right proportions to play in this game. And so we're not opposed to the style at all. The problem is the rest of the execution doesn't quite hold up. This starts at $26,000, and yes, it is all-wheel drive, so it has that going for it. This one's fully optioned up to about $31,000, which is where the problems start to appear, because at that price level, we're expecting a bit more. So they have included a lot of luxuries in those options. But the problem is the luxuries just don't feel like they should. For instance, the leather seats and steering wheel don't have a great feel to them. The interior dash is very plain, all hard black plastic, and even the silver painted parts are very flimsy plastic pieces. They have included some technologies. You have things like a round view camera system, the camera on every side of the vehicle, something like you'd see in a Land Rover, for instance. I'm not positive how much use you're going to get out of it on a small crossover that's probably not going off-roading anyway, but it's a neat trick. The problem on the other half of that is that the navigation system Nissan is still using in some of these models is a very small, outdated unit. It has a 5-inch screen. That's just not big enough in today's world to include 4 camera views and actually be able to decipher what's on that screen. My phone has a 5-inch screen again. So again, we need to be seeing a larger monitor inside for the interior technologies that they're trying to fit in here. The Bose stereo, not that great. The gauges, very plain, downright boring looking actually. Just no finesse and flair in the interior that some of the competition has these days. The second row, same kind of shortcomings there. Although the seat is fairly comfortable, there are no rear air vents for the second row passengers. The passenger seat and the driver's seat actually just couldn't ever get comfortable in either. It's a weird kind of limitation to the fact that they are set quite a bit higher than I would like them to be. The seat cushion, the bottom seat cushion, is too short for me. Also, I had a weird driving position because even though this is a 2013 and this is pretty rare these days, the steering wheel does not telescope. It's very limited tilt range actually. So to get close enough for the pedals and the steering wheel, even at 6 foot, I couldn't bring the steering wheel close enough to me. I had a very extended position. I couldn't get comfortable driving this vehicle, and that really bothered me every time I got in. Then once I was in, we had the aforementioned poor interior materials to deal with. Now the cargo area is pretty decent. Fold down second row gives you quite a bit room. Integrated headrests there, so you don't have to mess with those, kind of like that. This does have keyless access, things like that. But let's talk a little bit about execution of the powertrain. And here, Nissan has gotten better recently. We did like, they've really thrown a lot of their eggs into the CVT basket, and you probably know by now that we're not big fans of those generally. However, new vehicles like the Altima, Sentra, etc. have had pretty good integration, and so we've kind of at least been able to you know, kind of get by with the way that they've integrated the CVT and the powertrain. This one though is just not well integrated. I think part of it is the engine's fault. The engine it's 2.5 liter, 170 horsepower, but you really do not want to rev this engine. If you keep it below 3, maybe 3,500 revs, you're okay. But if you need spirited acceleration, and the CVT decides it's going to go up in that 4,000 or 5,000 RPM range, you'd be prepared for a very, very loud, unrefined engine note. The interior cabin actually is not very well isolated from road noise in general. The tires make a lot of tire noise, so you're getting a mix of unrefined engine noise at that, above about 3,000 RPM. The tires make a lot of noise. And it's just, the ride comfort is okay, but Really the tires, I feel it's Dunlop's shortcoming in that regard. The way that it handles potholes and frost heaves and things like that, it really comes through with a loud kind of intrusion into the cabin that you're not getting from the competition, especially at the $30,000 level. So Nissan really needs to concentrate on sound deadening in the next model, and that's kind of where we're headed with this, because overall we were honestly disappointed with the Rogue. But the good news is, if you are a Nissan fan and you're looking in this class, a new Rogue is right around the corner. So we would actually advise you to stick it out. This model's at 22 miles per gallon city, 27 miles per gallon highway, which again in 2013 is not class leading. I'm sure the next Rogue will improve on the refinement issues of the powertrain, probably improved cabin materials, and we'd expect that EPA number to increase as well. So really, we can't give this model a recommendation at this point in time. We'd advise you to hold out, see what that next Nissan Rogue is going to look like, and then we'll report back once we've had a chance to drive that. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the little SUV in Nissan's lineup, although not the actually surprisingly cool little brother that we drove a while back. That was the Juke, yeah. I'm trying to stall out. I'm like, what was the name of that little thing? Juke. Okay, start thing over.